yesterday. So we have learned these things like set up the Prisma, then set up Prisma client, then express and separate the router. These are the things we have learned yesterday. So today we'll going to start with the user router. And for that, first we'll start with this sign up router. So how the user will create an account using our API. Okay. Okay, so for this we need some of the dependencies like, so as you can see I have written here, so we need to install this dependency. So I will talk about these things one by one.
Okay.
So for saving the time, so I have already installed it, as you can see here. So we need bcrypt.js so to make our password hash so that the password is encrypted. So we'll use this plugin or this dependency to make the password encrypted. Okay.
Okay.
For this bcrypt.js and this cookie parser. So whenever a token you will coming from the client side, so we'll use this cookie parser to extract that token from the request. Okay, so let me show you. So this is the request here, the request object. So we can accept like this way, request.cookies. Okay. So as you can see here, request.cookies. So we can parse the token or any information from the cookies using this cookie parser library. Okay. Okay, and this is the .env library. So what are the here, as you can see, we have some environment variable that the Prisma can automatically schema.prisma can automatically read those variable from there, like this using this env function. But if you want to access this environment variable inside our server.js or any other JavaScript file, we need to use this library. Okay, so .env library. And express is express. We have already done these things yesterday. And this JSON web token. So this plugin will help us to generate the token. Okay.
Okay.
For the authentication. And this movement, this is a actually time management library. Let me show you how this will help you. Movement.js. So as you can see, so it will help us to format the time, as you can see this way. So we can format the time anyhow, any way we want. So this will help us a lot. So that's why we installed it as a utility plugin. So these are the plugin we will use for, and in future if we need any other plugin, we will install that, no problem. So okay. So the first thing we will do is we'll set up something like, so let's say some user is sending their email and password, or maybe the username. So we want to accept that thing from this request object, like request.body. So from request.body we want to accept those information. So for that, so as this as you can see, this is the cookie parser. So this will help us to extract the cookies, and we need another thing is that is called body parser. So that is inbuilt inside the express, so we'll use that so that we can extract information from this request.body. Okay. So for using that, so we need, these are called actually middleware. So I will write here a comment middleware. So we will apply all the middleware we have. So first of all, so we'll write app.use. So whenever we need to apply any middleware or apply any router, so we'll use app.use. Okay. So this is the function we need to use. So after that, we need to write the middleware right this way. So express.json. So if I write this, then this way, so this JSON function will help us to accept any JSON object that is passed by using request.body. So let me show you from here, so you will understand. So this is, let's say, our URL, and this is our body, request.body, and from here we, let's say, pass a JSON data like this way, like name colon something. So this name we can accept from here because of this thing. So if we don't put this thing, then we can't accept this information. Okay. So that's why we need this thing. And another thing is that, so let's say we don't want to put the JSON. So let's say we are going to insert like form URL encoded. So form data. So to parse this thing, we need to apply another middleware. So let me duplicate and show you. So this is URL encoded, okay? And after that, you need to write here like extended :false. So these are the two middleware we need to extract the data from this body, requested body, okay?
Okay.
So these are the first thing. So after that, let me remove this. Okay, so after that, we can set up this .env file so that we can access the data from this env file. Here you can see, so env file. So for that, what you need to do, you need to first import that package, like say .env equal require .env. After that, you need to just write .env.config. So you need to call this function. So if you do this in this server.js file, then the file are related to this, like all the routers and other files will automatically can access that information from this .env file. Okay. So we'll just do this here. And for the shortcut, we can just cut this thing from here and put it directly here. So we don't need to use this thing. This is for the shorthand. Okay. So this is the shorthand. Okay. So after that, so let's apply the cookie parser middleware also. So we'll just import it, constant cookie parser require cookie parser, and we will apply the same way we did it here. So we can just duplicate one and pass it here. So cookie parser will give you a function. You just need to call it inside this app.use. Okay. So that this way we will apply all the middlewares. So after that, so this env setup is done, and another thing is that, so let me just run the server. So we are using nodemon, so it's giving some error showing that, okay, so we are not in the current directory. So we are in the portfolio, but we need to go to inside the backend. So we'll type db cd backend, and then I will write npm run dev. So yeah, our server is running on port 270 using nodemon. Okay. So, and now if I just go here and type http say localhost 2727, and let's say we put some random URL that is not available. So as you can see, it's giving some default error like cannot get and something like, right? So we want that, we don't want to show this thing, we want our custom error page here. So okay, so to handle this kind of error, so we'll create a router. So it means that whenever it will actually, so whenever you request a URL like this, so it will go this way. So it will check all the routers. So one by one, first it will check this one, then it will check inside this will check slash user and all the router inside this custom router file, and it will, after checking all of them, so it will come at down, and it will check that, okay, so maybe no, if no router is matched, then it will go inside the router we defined at the bottom. So okay, so if we just write here the global error, so we'll write app dot use. So this is also, we need to write use for handling the global error. So we want to catch all the error that are not handled by our top routers. Okay, there's the thing. So for that, so we will write a app.use. So this will take a like this kind of callback function, and that will run whenever the top all the routers will fail. That time this function will run. So for that we will write, sorry for this, so request then response, the same thing here. So what we did here, and after that we will like generally just send a message like this is
basically we are creating a router route on the, like, without giving any
URL, the endpoint,
any URL, without giving any endpoint, and then it will automatically return the error.
Yes. So whenever all of them will fail, so this will run automatically. That's the thing. So we can write whatever message we want. Okay, so now if I just type anything, and just hit enter. So you will see that 404 not found. Okay. So
And
it will just,
does it send a status automatically?
yeah. So you can also define the status also here. So as you can see, it's the status, and let's say we are saying 404.
Okay.
So we can do this way. So we can see here if we just
Go to
do it
Postman and then
here.
we will
Yeah.
have it.
So
Yeah.
if we just try it here, as you can see, this is the status code not found
Yeah. Yeah.
404.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Fine.
yeah.
Fine. Fine. Thank you.
And by default, actually, the send will handle those things automatically.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
it's okay. So if you want to specify the status code, you can do that. And if you want to ignore it, you can ignore it, no problem. Okay. So that's the thing. Okay. So this is our global error, and after that we can actually start working on our the user router. So for that, so we'll go to inside our API, then inside our router, user router. Here it is. So here what we will do, we will create a controller for our user, so that we can actually cut all this extra code into another file. So this will make more much more clear. The code will be more clear. Okay. So we'll just create another controller here, like user controller.js, and this controller we can just create object here where we will put all our controller function. So user controller, and here let's say we'll write a function called, let's say, sign up. Let's put a arrow function. So now this sign up will handle everything for the controlling this user router. So what we can do, so we can just cut this thing, this callback function. Actually, we will define this callback function inside our controller. That's why we will cut this thing, because as you know, the controller task is handle the user input and what user is saying, and also give the response to the user. So we will handle all the user information here. So whatever they send in the request, and we'll manage those things, and then using that response, this response object will pass the response to the user. That's why we'll cut this thing from here, and we will just import this user controller dot sign up.
Okay.
And it's here we will that we can just paste that arrow function we just cut from here.
So
So
in that router, we are not required to import the user control.
yeah, we need to import it. So let me
fine.
import it. Okay, so thing is that we haven't exported from here. That's why it's not giving you auto suggestion. So we need to export it from here also. So module.exports, then we can write user controller. And after that, so if you just start typing user controller, so it will just auto import for you. Okay. So there's the thing. So now we can just cut it. So and we can just test it that it's working or not. So we can go to the Postman and create a folder and handle everything properly. So we can just go there and create a new collection like portfolio API. Inside that, we will create a folder called user auth, let's say. And after that, we will create request like user sign up. And the request will be a post request that we defined here. And okay, so we did it in wrong place. So it should be in sign up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can just duplicate this, put a comma here and make it login for the login. And this is for the sign up. And we can require that here. So user controller dot login. And make sure one thing that we don't call the function here.
Yeah.
Because we are referring this function here. We are giving this as a reference. We are not calling the function. Okay. So it can be a mistake. So now the login is done. Sign up is also done. Now we can test here. So for that, the URL would be user/sign up. If I try to access, so the sign up endpoint is working, as you can see. Okay. Yeah. So there's the login also. So you can just duplicate this here, rename it user login. After that, so we'll just change this. You can see login endpoint also working. Okay, so this controller, our controller is working fine. Now we can actually handle the user information.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is fine. Now we can go inside the controller folder and we can work with the user input, like go to into the user sign up post request, and we can go to this body. We can put this URL encoded also. We can put the raw JSON also. So let's try with the JSON here, and we will check the URL encoded in the login so that we can see the both. And from here, what we will pass, we can see in the our prisma.schema that for a user to be sign up, what information we need. So we need username and a password, nothing else.
Yeah.
So we will pass these two things from here. So we can just type username colon, let's say a name, and then a password colon, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Remove the extra white space from here.
Username can have a space.
Yeah, it should not have.
No, not like this here.
Yeah, it should not actually have a space because it should be unique. So this should be, we should do some validation to these things. Okay, so yeah, for now we can just keep this thing. So yeah, usually to actually create the user, we should take the email most of the times. So for the simplicity purpose, I just took the username. That's the thing. So yeah. So after that, so if I send here, so it should be come inside our request body. So we can console log it to verify. So request.body to check that it's working or not. So we'll see over here. So after sending this thing, so it's working, and as you can see, we get that our information, right? So username, a name, and password 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So now we can extract this information from this request.body. So we can do this in two ways. So let's show you. So we can type body equal request.body, and after that we can use like constant name equal body dot username. So we can do this way, or the shorthand way would be like we can just destructure this body, and we can pass username over here, comma, and this password over here. So what we did, so as you can see, so we have the request.body will give you an object. So it will be like this, let's say OB, and the object will contain these two property. So username is something, it should be something, and the password, it will be something. So what we are doing, so we are extracting this username and the password as a destructure. So this is called destructuring. Okay, so there's a thing. So this is how actually we destructure the object. So if you want to destructure an array, that's different thing. So let me also show you, it can help you in future. So let's say we have an array of 2 elements, 1 and 2. So you can also destructure this array. So how we'll do that? So you will type constant, then you will give array sign, and after that you will type the array name. And here, so how many element we have inside this array? We have 2 elements. So we can type a comma b, or whatever name you can give the variable here. Then, but you need to make sure that the number of element inside the array and then the destructure element inside this array sign should be same. Yeah, so this way you can access. So a would be 2, and the b value, sorry, a would be 1 and the b value would be 2. So this is how actually we do the array destructuring, and this is how actually we do the object destructuring in JavaScript. Okay. Okay, so after that, so we get our username, we get our password. So now we can, let's say, do some validation here. So let's say we'll check that if username and password, so, and we can type here not, that means the username is undefined or null, something like this. And also you can put this password here, that means the user haven't actually give a information about username and password. So we can ask the user, okay, give an error and say that, okay, provide this information. We can do that. So for doing that, the easiest way is actually to wrap the whole controller into a try-catch block, so that we can just, whenever we need, so we can just throw an error, and that error block will handle that error. So let me just show you. So we'll create a try-catch block, and we'll cut everything and put it inside this try block. And whenever we want to give some error, so we'll just type throw, then new, then error. So we'll error. So we'll create a, and we are throwing a object of an error. So here inside this error constructor, we'll pass a message like enter username and password. So if they doesn't give you username and password, then we will throw this error, and this error will be catched by this block, this catch block. So from here we can just send another response like, and also we can give something like status here. So if you want like 500 server error, so and here we can actually pass this error message, whatever we just put over here. So we can just type e dot message. Okay. So now if I just check this thing is working or not, so we'll go there, and if I just send this, both of the things, it's working fine. But if I just don't put, let's say, this password, one thing we need to change. So instead of and, we will put here or, because let's say the username is given but the password is not given. So for any of the missing, we want to throw this error. So we just did this thing. So that's why we put the username only. And now if I just send here, as you can see, enter username and password. So we are getting this error, and also the status code is 500. Okay. So this is how actually we can do the validation and using this try-catch block easily. And after that, if we need some more validation, like the password length should be, let's say, 6 character or 7 character. So we can also do that. Like, so if the password dot length is let's say greater than, or let's say smaller than 6, that means the password, we should give a error like you should choose a password that is minimum 6 character. So we can throw another error here. So we can say enter password with, say, character, minimum character, let's say 6. Now if we just go there and enter a password like with 1 2, then it should give that error. So it's showing that, so now we have both username and password, but the password is not around 6 character. So that's why it's throwing this error, not this one. Okay. So this way actually you can do do any validation you want. Okay. So after that, so let's say we have done with our validation. So after that, we can actually insert this information into our database. So now we'll save information into our database. Save user into database. So for that, so we need actually our Prisma client. So so to use that, let me show you how we will do that. So we'll import, first of all, so we'll import something require from @prisma/client. Okay, so we'll require from something here. Okay, that's the thing. After that, here, so inside this curly braces, if you just press Control and space, so you will see, you will get a suggestion like Prisma client. So we will need this thing. Okay, so we'll import it, and after that we need to create an object of this thing. So this is actually a class. So let me show you how we'll do that. So we can go over here and create object like let's say Prisma, and then you will write new, then Prisma client, and then you'll just call the constructor. So this way actually we will create object of this Prisma client, and using this object we will do our all the database operation. So I'll show you that. So you get my point. Like we'll import something from Prisma client, like Prisma client here. This is the class. So we need to create object of that class. So this is our object. And after that, so we'll just write this one. So like Prisma, and if you press dot here, so you will see that here you can see the portfolio and the user. So these are two are defined actually here. These are the model. Okay. So you will get automatically this suggestion. So you don't need to do anything. So you will just where we want to put now into this user information inside our user. So we'll get this user information, so user model, and after that we want to create something inside this user. So we'll press dot, and as you can see, all the function is available along with this model is available here. So you can just choose whichever you want, like the count, then create many, delete many. So everything is available here. So we want this create option. So we'll create, then call the function, and it will need some arguments. So we'll just press give a object. After that, so you don't need to memorize that whatever go inside this object. So what you will do, you will just always press Control and space bar. So after that, you will go up. So as you can see, so we get three things we can pass inside this object. So the data, the include, and the select. We don't need to worry about these two things for now. So we'll pass the data. So inside the data, so this will be another object. So we'll also again type the curly braces, and after that, we will again actually press Control and space bar. So after that, you will see the what information we need to pass inside this data. As you can see, the password we need to pass, the username we need to pass, and the ID is question mark. It means ID is optional. You can pass it, or the database will automatically generate for you. So we don't need to pass it. And the portfolio is same, so you don't need to pass it, or if you want, you can pass it. So we will not pass these two things. We will just pass username and password. These are the required field. So for that, so we'll type username. So if you just start typing, you will get the suggestion. So actually, this is the best thing for the Prisma. So it will make your life more easier. So that's why we'll type username, and we'll pass the username here. And after that, so we can pass the password, and we can type the password here. For now, we will just store the password as it is, but after checking that everything is working, we'll make the hash of it, and then we'll insert the hash inside our database. Okay.
Okay.
So for now, we'll just do this in this way. So testing for testing. And if you just hover over this create method, so if I just show you, as you can see, it's returning and a so user delegate, something like reject. So actually it is a promise. So we need to handle this thing. So for that, so we need to make this function as async, so that we can call await here. So now this will actually, this is actually an asynchronous function. That's why we need to call here await, simple thing. Okay. So after that, so we can get the object that will return from this create function. So we can write like our user. So after that, we can just console log the user, so that we can see the what inside this user. And also we can pass, let's say, inside the request.send, we can actually pass a object. Let's say that it has a message that success and a object like user.
Okay.
So we'll just we can just see here that user is successfully it's working or not for the testing purpose actually. Also you will see in the console. So yeah, so let's try it. So open the console, and here, so we'll pass this thing. So if I just do it, it will give you that we need to pass a character. We need to increase the character length. So let's just increase it for now. And after that, if I just do it, so it's going that success, and we have already created a user. So the ID is giving by the database is 1, and we are getting a name. Actually, we are getting back the user whatever is created inside our database. That's the thing. So now if we just check here, the user object inside our console, whatever we just did here, so it's also giving that information. Now we can actually go to our PSP-MyAdmin to verify that it's actually working or not. So we can just go from here. And our database or this my portfolio, this database. So let's open it. So now we'll go this insert user table. As you can see, database is working perfectly. So it's fine, right? So yeah, so this is how actually we'll insert into our database something. So what you need to do, you will just write Prisma, our client object, there it is, and you will type get the user model that is defined inside our Prisma.schema. And after that, you will type any function name that is associated with this user model. So after that, so if you want to create something, so we need to pass an object, and inside the object, we will pass the data that we want to provide for this user model. So then if I give an object and along with this username and password things, okay? So this is how actually we will create a new user. And after that, let's now work with these hashing things. So for that, so before we actually save into database, we will encrypt our password. So here, so let's say hash our password. So for that, we are using a library called bcrypt. So bcrypt.js. So we'll import that something require bcrypt.js. So this is the thing. You can name the same here. So after that, from using this bcrypt.js, so we will type this way, like so bcrypt. And to know how these things will work, we can just actually Google it. So you will get the npm page here. So you can just go inside there. You will get the simple documentation. This kind of things has a very simple documentation. You can see the users thing here. Users thing. So you need to require this thing first. We have already done this, and after that, actually, so yeah, so actually, as you can see, how we can get the hash. So hash a password, as you can see here, just generate a salt, and then we can hash this thing. So let's just do this thing here. So first, let's say we will generate a salt like SLT bcrypt.js done, then we can say gen. And as you can see, it has a two function. One is gen salt and another one is gen salt sync. So this two, the difference of these things is that this gen salt is an asynchronous function or method, and this gen salt sync is the synchronous method. So if you just type gen salt sync, then you don't need to do anything. So it will wait until the operation is complete. So and whenever this operation is complete, this will do the rest of the operation. But if we just like do like gen salt, and that time this is an operation, this operation will be an asynchronous operation. That time we need to wait for this thing. Okay, so there's the difference. So we can, this will take, this won't take actually that much time. So we can use the synchronous method for now. And we can give a the round number that will be the length of that random string. So like this, it will give a random string. So we can give a length of the string. So let's say 10. So it will give a random string of 10 length. So we can also console log the salt to see how it looks like. So salt here. And after that, whenever we have the salt, we can hash our password. Let's say hash pass. Then bcrypt again, bcrypt.js dot hash. As you can see, hash sync and hash, it has the same thing. Hash is the asynchronous, as hash sync is the synchronous. So for now, we're going to use hash sync. And here we need to pass two things. String, this is our actual password, and the salt we have just generated here. So for that, so we'll pass here our password. And in the second parameter, we will pass our salt. And after that, we'll also console log our hash pass. And okay, yeah, so yeah, sorry. So this will be our hash. So this one. Okay, so after that, is there anything missing? So we are doing generating the salt. Then we are using that salt, we are just hashing our actual password. So after that, we get to these two things. So and now if I just try to do this thing, so we can check. Another thing we can test now, that the username, if we give the username same, then it will automatically actually give you an error. So we can also test this thing. And now, so without changing this a name, we are just trying to send the request. So let's see. As you can see, so it's going that invalid prisma.user.client invocation. So username key. So as you can see, it's showing that unique constant failed. So it's showing that this is actually throwing an error because we are validating, we are not providing an unique character for this username. Okay, so there's a thing. So we can just we can actually see our hash. So we'll figure out this thing later. But see the hash now. So this was our salt. So a random string. And after that, this is our actually the actual hash password. So our 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 password, this will be our becoming like this. Okay, so this is how we'll encrypt our password, so that whenever if somehow our database got leaked, that time the hacker cannot access our actual password. So that's the thing. So after that, so instead of this storing the actual password, we will store our hash password here. Okay, and we can remove our this console log, or we can make them comment. So now we can try adding a new user. Let's say user 1, and the password is 1234567. So now if I just do this, as you can see, our user is created and the password is now is hashed password. So if I see here, you can see the this kind of password is not available here. So you can just delete this thing for now.
Yeah.
Because this is the actual thing we will work on. Okay, so this is the password thing is done. So after that, we need to do another thing is that, so we need to provide a token, the authentication token or JSON token for the user, so that we can actually identify that, okay, this is our actual user. Okay, so we will generate a token and we will pass that token to the user. So we can give a comment like token. For that, again, we can go to the documentation of JSON Web Token. From here, and you can type npm also, that will give you actual npm page.
Yeah.
So after that, so we need to install this way. We have already done this npm install JSON Web Token. So after that, so we need to require the JSON Web Token. So we'll do that fast. So in the top, we'll write constant JWT for shorthand, and we'll write require. Here we will type JSON Web Token. So this is how we will require the things. After that, we'll use this JWT. So here, so let's say we want to create a token. So we'll write const token equal JWT dot sign. So if you this is a function. So using this, we will generate a token. So for that, so you can see it will take a payload. And the payload can be string or object or anything. So this what this payload will do, we'll talk about this thing later, but for now we need to pass something here as a payload. So we'll pass an object for now, and we need to pass another thing is this the secret token, a secret key actually. So what we will do, so we will generate, let's say we have a secret here. So after that, we will get our token and we will pass this token to the user, and this token actually will be saved inside this cookie. Okay, so the browser cookie or the Postman cookie. So after that, so whenever the user is logged in and whenever he's trying to access, let's say the portfolio or anything, so that this cookie will automatically send to our request object. So here, okay, and that request object, from there we can actually like this way, request.cookies, like this way we can access the token. Okay, so after getting that token, we can actually verify that token that is the actual token or not. So that's why actually we need to, when we will verify that token, we will use this same secret, so that we can identify that, okay, this the token we have sent him, this is the actual same token. Okay, so that's why we need this secret. So usually what we do, this secret is stored inside this env file. Okay,
yeah,
that's the thing. So we'll store our secret here. So let's say JWT secret. Now we'll pass a random string. So let's say we'll take something from here. So you can just put whatever you like.
Yeah.
So some secret thing here. Okay, so after that we will access this thing. So for accessing this thing, we have already done this thing inside our server.js file. So this one, so require.env, and we will just call the function config. So this way we can just access our this environment variable here. So to do that, so we'll go inside our user controller. Here you need to write like process.env and then type that environment variable name. This is the thing. Okay, so this thing. So after that, we can just make it string like this way. Let's say plus, then and it has a simple empty string this way. This, if this is returning something else, so it will convert it into string. So this way we will ignore all kind of errors. And inside this payload, so actually JSON Web Token, if you go inside our JSON Web Token, their official site, not this one. Yeah. As you can see, actually JSON Web Token is actually, it can be encrypted and it can be decrypted. So let it load, then I will actually show you. Okay, so it's loading, take time. So let me give you an example here. So let's say we have a token like something like this, like so something like a random string. So this is, let's say this is our token. So and whenever we're generating our token, so let's say we are passing a payload like this. So let's say we are passing an object. This object will contain the user ID. So let's say 1. Okay. So let's say this is our this is our payload. Okay. So whenever we're generating this token, so okay, there's the thing. So whenever we pass this token to the user, and user will send back this to us like this using this cookie option. So what we will do? So now if we just want to verify that token is valid or not, so we can do like this way. So like we will write JWT.verify. As you can see, this is a function. So after that, if we just type pass this token here, so initially, so this will be our token that will get from the user. And after that, we need to pass the same secret key. Otherwise, it will won't work. Okay. So this function will verify that okay, this is actual token or it's just a random string. Okay. So after that, actually this will return you something. This the verify function. So that thing would be actually our payload. So whatever we're passing here, so that will be actually we can get back from this token. So this way, actually after that, so this function will actually run whenever we want to actually verify that okay, the user is trying to log in, and we'll checking that the authentication token is fine or not. So this way, whenever we get back the payload, after that we can actually destructure the ID, the user ID, because we are passing the ID over here. Okay, so we can destructure get back the ID here, and we can actually use this ID throughout the throughout other operation, like getting all the portfolio only for this ID. So we are not giving chance the user that they will pass the user ID, because if we give the let's say we have an endpoint like this, like so let's say we have an endpoint like after that we have an endpoint like get, then let's say portfolio / user ID. So if we give a endpoint like this, then let's say you are user ID 1 and I'm user ID 2. So what you can do, you can just instead of putting your user ID, you can put my user ID and get access all of my portfolio. This is actually not good thing. So that's why we won't be allow user to put any information from them, and we will extract the information from the cookie. So whatever we set from our server. Okay. So this is kind of secure. So this is how actually will actually work. So when we will work on the actual thing, so it will be more clear for you. Okay. So after that, and that's the thing actually, that the JWT token. So this is the token, a demo token. As you can see, this is actually the payload is along with this token. Okay. So and another thing is that, so whenever you insert something as a payload, you should not actually pass something like password or any secure thing, because anybody can take the token and put it over here and actually see that payload. Okay. So you should not pass anything that is sensitive information. Okay. So you can pass the email, or you can pass this kind of ID that is actually not sensitive information. Okay. You should not pass actually the password or credit card information.
But this way, fine. But this way, like okay, so that only a user can get only his ID. Fine. It's
yeah. So that's fine. Yeah. So that's why we'll pass the ID over here. And to get this ID, so where we'll get this ID, we can put here 1. These are not important things now. So how we'll get this ID? Because the ID is available now inside this user, because this user is inside already created inside our database. And after that, we will take the user and we'll get the ID from here. Okay. So user.id. As you can see, it's also giving you that auto suggestion that what properties it has. Okay. So there's the power of actually the Prisma. So after that, we get the ID. So we'll generate the token, and we can console log the token here. And to check this thing that token is working or not. And after that, we can, if you want, we can attach this token along with the user. And if you don't want, we can also ignore it. So for now, we will just attach it like this way. So user.token, and we will pass the token here, and then we'll pass the user. So this way, actually, it's as you can see, there is 3 dots, the small 3 dot. So actually, the user is coming from this Prisma schema. So it doesn't have any token property actually. That's why it's showing that it should, it's telling me that I should not actually attach a property that is actually not available here. So what we can do actually, so instead of doing this way, so we can actually pass a object here, and after that we can destructure our or spread operator. This is called spread operator. So we can spread this user, and after that also we can attach by using comma, like token colon or token. So it's giving an error. So let me see. Okay. Okay, let's just do this thing here. Let's say our constant new user object, and we will pass constant user. So this is fine. And after that, we'll type token. We are adding a new property inside this object, and after that we will by passing this token. So then we will take this new user object and pass as a response. Okay. So that's how we'll do. So now if we try here, so the sign up, and just delete it from here for now. So we do this, as you can see, we see our token. This is the token, and this is our password hash. And if we take this token and just put it inside our JWT here, as you can see, the payload is showing here. ID is 4, and this is actually a timestamp. Ignore this thing. So the payload is, you can see 4, and if we just reload here, as you can see, the ID is 4, so it's working fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
please tell me, this password, like, can't we avoid to send back the password?
Yeah, of course we can do that. Like we will whatever we don't need, actually inside this new user object we have everything, right? So we have this property like ID, username, password, and token. So what we can do, so we can just type like this way. So right, delete, and after that we will type like new user object, then the property of that user, property of that which one you want to delete.
It will not return.
It will remove. Yeah. So and if you want to delete something other thing, like if you don't want the user to know the ID, so you can also do that thing like new user object then ID. So but we need this thing in front end, so we will keep the ID. We'll just remove that password. Okay.
Okay.
Now if I also again try to create a user, let's delete it for now. If I do this, as you can see, okay, it's showing the password. Let me see why. New user object, let's console log. It should be deleted. So so we don't pass anything. Let's say we don't pass anything. Let's see what it's showing now. Still showing, maybe something went wrong in somewhere else. Let's actually restart our server. Start that. Let's try now. Delete them all. Yeah,
it was because of the server. It was
maybe
because of the
server cache. Yeah. So now if we just do this, change the user one. Yeah, now it's working. So yeah, that was because of the server. So if you see something
now try please that can we try that delete again, because I was just
we can do that. Yeah, that was the efficient way.
Yeah.
First of all, we will destructure the user, or yeah. So then after that we will attach the token. Let's say. And after that we will write delete, then new user dot password. So now let's see what it look like. So yeah, as you can see, it's working now. That was actually because of the.
Can you just restart the server once now?
It's working fine, as you can see.
Yeah.
Did you see? So
No,
we
but
don't
last time also it was repeating the same thing, you know. That's why I
Oh,
wanted just
okay. So yeah,
if
so
we can,
let's
yeah,
run the
just to
server.
confirm, you know.
Yeah, sure. So we restart the server, and now if we just change the username and try again, so yeah, it's
Yeah,
working.
now it's working.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
fine.
so yeah,
Perfect.
that kind of issue actually occur very little
Yeah,
time. So
yeah.
if you see something like it's not expecting as expecting, so you can just restart the server. So yeah, so this is how actually we have actually one thing left. So we'll talk about that thing. But
Okay.
before we do that, let's just see
Okay.
what we did till now.
Okay.
So we take the user information from the user, this request.body, like we destructure the username and the password. And after that, we do some validation. So like the username and password is entered or not, that the password length, this type of things. And after that, we hash our password like using this bcrypt.js. And for hashing the password, we need two things: our actual password and a salt. So to generate the salt, we are using bcrypt.js.get salt sync, and we are giving a character like 10. So yeah, you can give any number here. So then after that, we are getting the salt, and we are passing the salt and password, and we are using this hash function to get our hash password. And after that, we initialize our Prisma client, and we are creating our user. So or creating the user, so we are passing the username, and we are passing this hash password, and this will create a user inside our database, and it will return that object along with that id, new id. So we have the new id inside this user id. So after that, we need to generate our token for the authentication. So what we do, so we will use JSON token, so we import it over here. And after that, we call a function like sign to generate a token, and we pass a payload. So usually we will pass the ID of the user, so who is login or who is signing up. And after that, we will pass a secret here. So the secret should come from this environment variable. Okay. So and after that, so we have our token, and then we are actually deleting the password, and we are passing the new object as a response. And now what we need to do, so we need to pass this token. So we may remove the token from here. So we need to do something that this token should be automatically saved inside these cookies. Okay, so we need to do this inside our server here. So that's why this token will actually can't access by the client side. Okay, so that's the thing we need to do now. Then we're done. So after that, so let's say we can do this here. So send back the token as a cookie. For that, we'll type trace.cookie, and inside the here, as you can see, we need to pass the name of the cookie and the value of the cookie, the key value pair. Okay, so for the cookie, let's say we are then we are giving a name like auth token. So you can provide any name. After that, for the value, we will pass the token. Okay, so this is how we will actually save the token. And we have, tell me anything you want to ask.
Can we put a life of the token here, like life of the cookie?
Yeah, we can do that. So let me just go to that thing. We need to pass some option here for the cookie. So as you can see, we can pass like HTTP only true. So this cookie should be only accessible by the server. It means that, okay? So no client side, like say, let me show you the client side, how you can access the cookie. So we can write like document dot cookie. So as you can see, all the cookies are saved in this for this GitHub, so we can access these things. So we don't want any third party or a client side to access our cookie. That's why we'll pass like this option. So after that, we will pass secure equal. When we will be in the production, you will pass secure equal true. Secure equal true means this HTTPS. So your site has a SSL or not. That's the thing. So we are in the local host. We don't actually have the SSL here. Yeah. So for now, we will use HTTP secure equal false. Okay. That's the thing. And the same site lex means, so let's say you are accessing from this domain. So let's say let me show you here. So let's say our API domain is like api.sum.com. Let's say this one our domain. And for our client, let's say our domain is random.com. So now if we try to access this cookie from this this is our actually main thing. Let's remove the subdomain. So this is our API is hosted on sam.com, but our client is hosted on random.com. But now if we try to access this cookie from here, then actually if we just put the same site actually lags, that time actually we can't actually access the cookie from this our API. Okay, so that
even
time
if we have a subdomain, for example, API dot domain.com, and then we have like client.domain.com.
Okay, let me just give you that example also, but let's go one by one. So let's say we have only the main domain. Let's talk about the subdomain later. Okay, so let's say we have a domain in API that is sam.com, and our client is, let's say, in the random.com. So now if we try to access our token from, or the cookie from this sam.com, or this operation actually raise.cookie, this what it will do, it will go to your client and it will set this cookie. But if we do it in a different domain, then it will fail. It will this will can't able to actually set it to cookie here. Okay, so it won't be able to do this thing. But let's talk about now subdomain. For subdomain, we can have like this. The API is, let's say, api.sam.com, and let's say our client is sam.com. But that time this will work because our main domain is same. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, so
fine.
there's the thing. So that's why actually we will type here the same site is lags. Okay, otherwise it will create issue. And this is also make your site more secure. Like, so let me just Google it.
We use it in Laravel as well.
Yeah. So yeah, the cross-site request forgery. So this type of actually attack is happen whenever we storing the actually that this token inside the cookie. So that time this type of attack is happen. So for preventing this thing, actually we can use this same site lags. So this thing here. So this same site lags.
Lags means that it should come from the same domain.
Same domain, yeah. There's the thing. Okay.
Okay.
So and after that, we can actually put a expire date. Okay. So there's the thing. So if you have a banking website or banking like system, that time you can actually put this type of expiration time that the cookie will automatically delete it from your user. So user need to log in again. Okay. But if you have a something simple thing, so you don't need to do this thing. Okay. So we can do this thing. Okay. So after that, so we will pass these three things now. Okay. So let's remove this thing from here. So, and as a third parameter, we will pass our options. Okay. So as you can see, first is the name, then the value, and then the options. So in the options, we will, you don't need to actually memorize this thing. So you can just type control space and you should, okay. So we are not getting this thing. And let me tell you why we are not getting this thing. So if we just do this thing here, let's say, so router dot, let's say get, and we have a, let's say, a endpoint request comma response. And now let's see if I are doing raise.cookie, as you can see we are getting the auto suggestion, and after that let's say we are giving a name, and then we are giving a value, and after that if we give we are giving the option, and if we now control space, you will get all the auto suggestion. Okay. But here we are not getting this thing because of actually JavaScript, because JavaScript doesn't, this VS Code doesn't know what is this request and what is this response. But here it knows because we are attaching with this router. Okay. So whenever you use a TypeScript, that time actually you will get all kind of actually this type of auto suggestion. So we can just check from there. So whatever we need to pass. So as you can see, you can pass the domain. If you want that, we want only this domain to actually work our cookies, not any other domain. We can specify the domain also. And after that, we need this HTTP only thing. Okay. So we'll write HTTP only to true. Because we want our cookie to be accessed only in our server side, not by the client. After that, we can write secure this thing. For now, we will type false, and for the production, we will write true. And after that, what else we can take? Now we can, this is the thing, same site. So we'll use this. And for this, we can have these three things, the lags, none, and the strict. So if we use lags, then only the same domain can access it. And for none, any domain can access it. But for this none, this will only work in the Firefox. Actually, the Chrome doesn't support these things anymore. Okay, so this become deprecated. So it's better to use actually Lex. Okay. So we can do this thing for now. So just copy these options, remove this thing here. Then user controller, we can put this thing here, and for the same side we will pass Lex here, and I think everything should work fine now.
Now, shouldn't we remove the token from the new user object?
Yeah, if you want, you can do this. Actually, what happened? So sometimes actually, so the website actually vulnerable to this type of client side, right? So that we can access the token, the cookie from the local storage like document dot local storage, or we can session storage. We can access this thing. But let's say we want to create an Android app. At that time, actually, we don't have this type of cookie type things. Okay. So that time, actually, we can just store this thing in Android local storage thing. So that time, actually, we don't need to actually pass this type of cookie. So we will just pass this token as that here. So for this thing is for like other clients.
Because
like
in
Android
mobile applications, you cannot access the token.
Yeah, actually that will be an other thing because we don't have this type of things. Okay. That's why we can pass this thing for other type of client. Okay. So and if you think that we will have only web app, then we can remove the token from here. Okay. There's the thing. So we'll keep it for now. So now let's test it again. So let's say we'll have a user 7. Let's say if we try to send it, is our maybe our server is not actually running. So let's run the server. Okay, so we are on different URL. Yeah. Backend. So now if I just test it, so it's working. And now if we check in the cookies, as you can see, we get our auth token. This is the name, and this is our token. So this is our actual token, as you can see up to this. After that, we are getting that HTTP only cookie. Okay, so this is how actually the thing will work.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're done with this side up actually option. So and we can actually stop today here, and we can work on the login.
We can
actually
log
tomorrow.
in. We can work tomorrow.
And yeah.